This is Trinity Storm and you are watching fourth part of What If Naruto and Hinata Were Kidnapped by Raikage. If you enjoy this video, please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Now wasting no more time, let's start the story.
The Wind of Freedom Bridge a week later. It's too damn quiet, Tayuya remarked, tapping her flute on her hand absent-mindedly. Naruto gave her the flute to protect herself after evaluating her fighting style. Her friends were also looking at Wave Country from the ship's bridge. It also smells like fear. The Wind of Freedom had finally reached the coast of Wave Country. Hinata, Hinoka, and Asuka, who were standing nearby, nodded in agreement. All four girls turned to face Naruto. He was leaning against the wall, his eyes closed, and deep in thought. Could this be a ruse? The ex-Kumo Jonin was nervous about approaching the Fire Country's southern border because he knew the damn Raikage would not stop pursuing him and Hinata, despite Kumo's inability to come this far south without alarming Konoha. Furthermore, he and Hinata had escaped with so many people with bloodline limitations, implying that the Kumo leader was up to something. The ship's fuel had nearly run out, so they had to land in Wave Country to refuel and resupply. It didn't take the Namikaze long to make a decision, and he immediately pulled out a scroll containing radio communicators. "Here, take one," the blonde said to his friends as he handed out radio communicators. Then he created Red, a high-level shadow clone code. Asuka-chan, Hinoka-ni-chan, and Tayuya-ni-chan, please stay on the ship and help the civilians, and make sure that those who are strong enough to fight are armed in case of an emergency. Naruto smiled as he noticed Hinoka carrying two daggers sheathed behind her waist. "Hinata-chan and I will go to the shore to get some fuel and a better understanding of the situation in town." He rested his hand on the shoulder of his shadow clone. "Red will stay to help you. Stay frosty." Everyone nodded as Naruto and Hinata removed their masks. The couple exited the ship and began walking toward the nearest house on the coast. "Hinata-chan, please," Naruto said, motioning to the coast. She nodded and her bloodline limit was activated. "Byakugan!" she exclaimed as she began to scan the surrounding area. "What happened?" Naruto inquired, concerned. "I see two men with swords heading toward that house," Hinata worriedly pointed out. "There's a young lady and a boy inside. Tizuna's residence. Stay away from us." Tsunami yelled as she failed to close the door to keep Gato's two thugs out. Inari. Hide. But her son was immobile. The door was smashed 2 seconds later, and the mother was pushed aside. Hee hee. Waraji couldn't help but chuckle as he looked at the boy. "I feel compelled to slash something with my sword." "Fine, but hurry up," Zori said, grabbing a resisting Tsunami who was still screaming for her son. "We require this woman as a hostage in order to stop the bridge builder and the Konoha team." Hee hee hee. Waraji drew his sword from its sheath and strode menacingly toward Inari. The thug's desire to kill grows stronger with each step toward the terrified boy. "Those Konoha ninja are up next, hee hee hee." The boy's feet were firmly planted on the ground, and all he could do was stare helplessly and tremble in terror as the man in front of him slowly raised his sword above his head. "Stop. Please," screamed Tsunami as Gato's goon moved to take her son away. 4 senbons swooped through the opening. The metal needles were deeply embedded in Zori and Waraji's hands, causing them to scream in agony. "How dare you to wish harm on a child?" Tsunami turned to face the source of the soft female voice and discovered a masked couple dressed in samurai armor standing in the doorway. The taller one motioned with his hand, and an identical figure appeared. "White, interrogate them and then take care of them," the shadow clone said as he escorted the 2 intruders away. Tsunami dashed over to her son and hugged him tightly. "Thank you very much, Inari," Samurai-san. Lady, we are ninjas, not samurai, Naruto corrected Tsunami. Thank you a lot, Ninja-san. Naruto and Hinata noticed the mother and son joyfully hugging each other after being saved. As they smiled at each other, the brunette's hand tightened around her love's hand. I know you want to visit your parents, Hinata-chan. You want to hug them and feel their warmth, thought Naruto. I will safely return you and our friends. That is a guarantee. I can tell it reminds you that your parents are gone, and you never get to hug them. Hinata reflected. However, my parents could be your new parents. Don't fight Gato. You'll all die like those Konoha ninjas, Inari muttered quietly. No one can defeat Gato. The Namikaze's eyes widened as he heard the boy's words. Does this place have a Konoha team? What about Gato? The shipping magnate in charge of bringing Asuka-chan and the water people to Kumo? What exactly is he doing here? Tsunami chastised her son, Inari. These ninjas literally saved our lives. Tsunami's gaze was drawn closer as the masked couple approached. The mother noticed the blonde-haired ninja's genuine eyes. That's fine, Inari's mother. We can help. Please tell us everything. On the bridge 20 minutes later. Team 7 members led by Kakashi Hitaki were fighting a losing battle against the Demon of the Mist's partner. Kiba screamed angrily, shit. Our plan failed. Do you have a backup plan, Sasuke? I can't believe those ice mirrors can withstand the signature techniques of our clans. The Uchiha stared in disbelief at the slightly damaged ice mirror they had attempted to destroy. Kiba Inuzuka and his Ninken Akamaru were trapped, facing the ice release, demonic mirror ice crystals of the Hyden user. To bring them down, they used fire release, Grand Fireball followed by the Inuzuka Fang passing Fang. Much to their dismay, this had yielded only minor results. They were literally pinned down as multiple senbons pierced them, forcing Akamaru to revert to his original form. Sakura Haruno, the last member of Team 7, was keeping a kunai ready to protect their client Tizuna. Despite the fact that Sasuke had finally awakened his Sharingan with one Tomo in his left hand and two in his right, he could only see a few senbons approaching him, Kiba and Akamaru. Oh no. Kiba grumbled, but quickly moved to protect his prized Ninken from the 1,000 flying water needles of death. Sasuke's memories flashed through his mind. That terrible night, his brother massacred the Uchiha clan, killing his father and many clansmen and crippling his mother's mobility. Despite his mother's disapproval, he worked hard so that one day he could avenge his clan. Then he remembered the team formation day. That humiliating taijutsu lesson from Kakashi, Konoha's ultimate taijutsu, Senin Garashi, which was actually a damn kancho in disguise. He had a sore buttock and a bruise on his Uchiha pride, but he never told his mother about the humiliating lesson. This was supposed to be a C-rank mission to protect Tizuna, the bridge builder, from bandits. It was upgraded to a rank, however, when Team 7 realized who they were fighting, the Demon of the Mist. The Uchiha was ecstatic that this mission would provide him with combat experience and a yardstick against higher-level ninja. When Team Kakashi discovered the demon's academic background, it was more than Sasuke bargained for. A single student slaughtered the entire graduating class single-handedly. Sasuke Uchiha believed his end was near as the senbons approached. He wished that one of his younger clansmen would inherit his will and kill his damn brother. Everyone froze when Team 7, their client Tizuna, and the rogue Kiri hit team heard a roar. Then a powerful shockwave ripped the Hyden user's senbons off and destroyed her ice mirrors. Shockwave, tailed beast. The Jinchuriki to Kyuubi no Kitsune had raised the shockwave's angle much higher than usual in the hopes of minimizing damage to the bridge. However, multiple cracks appeared on the bridge, and the resulting shockwave knocked everyone off their feet. The powerful shockwave blew the Haiten user who had been leaping between the mirrors in midair off course. She heard her master's worried scream and noticed a senbon dipped in sleeping liquid embedded in her arm. She flew past Team 7's male genins. As she crashed face first into the ground and became unconscious, the fake Kiri Hunter's mask broke in half. Sasuke and Kiba rose to their feet, each holding the other's arm over their shoulders. They approached the fake Mist Hunter Nin with kunai in their hands with caution. The hunter was recognized by Sasuke and Kiba as the same person they had met during their tree climbing training. Haku? She's the phony hunter Nin? Sasuke and Kiba were stunned. Despite her claim that she was a boy, the Inuzuka and his ninkin said Haku was a she, with their noses checking her scent. Haku had wanted to play with their minds. 5 minutes ago. Another water clone, copycat Kakashi Hatake thought as his kunai sank into his adversary's skull. So tell me, Kakashi, Zabuza Momochi asked from behind his mask, which was hidden behind the Konoha Jonin. How does it feel knowing I cracked your little trick? The Konoha Jonin immediately turned around and used his kunai to deflect the executioner blade strike from the missing Nin. He could hear Sakura's worried cries for her teammates, and he knew his students were losing the battle against the Haiten user. He needed to finish the battle with the Kiri ninja as soon as possible, or else his students and client would become body scrolls, and the country would be destroyed. I have to end this now, the Leaf Jonin said as he pulled a scroll from his flak jacket pocket. Before slamming the scroll to the ground, the Hatake smeared some of his blood from a wound inflicted by the Momochi across the scroll and made a few hand signs. Earth Release Summoning Technique, Tracking Fang Technique. What the? Zabuza was trying to figure out what was going on when the ground beneath him exploded. He was surprised to see several dogs leap from the ground and latch onto him, immobilizing him. If sight and hearing don't work, try smell. I bled on purpose when I blocked your attacks, leaving the smell of my blood on your weapons. From what I see, you're the one who fell into a trap, Kakashi Hatake said, making a few hand gestures. As lightning cutter, lightning chakra began to focus on his right hand. Zabuza Momochi, you are ambitious. Konoha knows that you left Kirigakure no Sato and became a missing nin. You tried to assassinate the Mizukage and take over the Mist Village, but you failed and escaped with your men. You work for scum like Gato to raise funds and escape from the hunter nins. The man you are attempting to kill, Tazuna-san, is the courage of this. I don't care about them as long as I achieve my goal. Zabuza declared defiantly. But Kakashi is correct, not only is Wave Country at stake, but so is my village. You'll die here, Sharingan no Kakashi said coldly before charging toward the Kiri nin with his signature assassination technique. When both combatants heard a roar and paused, the killing blow failed to land on the copycat ninja's opponent. What the hell happened? When a shockwave knocked them and the dogs around like ragdolls, pushing them a few meters, they were stunned. Zabuza's mist had been blown away. Haku! Zabuza exclaimed as he saw her being blown away in midair before blacking out. I hate using the tailed beast shockwave because it could damage the bridge, Naruto told Hinata. However, that Haiten user's ice mirrors are extremely tough. The Hyuga agreed with a nod. Despite the pain, Kakashi and his 8 ninkins attempted to get back to their feet. They noticed 2 pairs of feet in front of them, a couple dressed in traditional Uzumaki armor. Hello, Kakashi-Nisan, Naruto said, holding out his hand to the imposter ninja as he and Hinata removed their masks. It's been a long time since I've seen you, and it's a pleasant surprise to see you here. Minato-sensei, Lady Hitomi? Kakashi's eyes widened as he realized the person in front of him didn't have whiskered cheeks or the Haim-cut hairstyle of the Yondaime Hokage and Hyuga matriarch, respectively. They wore Uzumaki armors, and the male had called him Nissan, and only one person had ever called him Nissan. Impossible. No, Naruto corrected Kakashi. I'm his son, Naruto, and this is Hinata, daughter of Hiashi and Hitomi Hyuga. I'll explain why we look like teenagers instead of pre-teenagers later. Kakashi's eyes widened again, and despite their age, their features matched the two Konoha children who had vanished nearly 10 years before. The only way to confirm it was for the Leaf Jonin to move his head to his 8 Ninkins and make a request. Are you able to authenticate them? The 8 Ninkins began sniffing the couple because they remembered the scents they had used to track them during the Namikaze Hyuga incident. They are Naruto Namikaze and Hinata Hyuga, the Nikken's leader confirmed, and his 7 canine companions all barked in agreement. I can't believe it's you. Kakashi exclaimed, wanting to jump up and hug them but finding he couldn't. He was too tired from his fight with the demon of the mist. The Leaf Jonin turned around, thinking about his opponent, and saw Naruto's shadow clone, codenamed Yellow, guarding and attempting to awaken Zabuza. Sasuke-kun. Everyone turned around to see the Team 7 pink-haired Kunoichi rush towards her exhausted teammates sitting on the ground. One of her teammates wore a fan symbol on his back, indicating that he was a Uchiha fan. Another male genin, an Inuzuka, had red triangles on his cheeks. Naruto was dismayed to see the pinkette sobbing and assisting the Uchiha while ignoring her Inuzuka teammate and his Ninken, both of whom were only 2 meters away from the Uchiha. Because the pinkette couldn't keep her emotions in check, the ex-Kumo ninja shook his head and turned to his lover. Please treat all the injured, including the mist ninja. Tayuya Nichan will heal Zabuza's arms when... Hey, wait a minute. Tazuna interjected, protesting. Would you like to heal my would-be assassins? Naruto made a reassuring gesture with his hand. Don't worry, Tazuna-san. Your daughter Tsunami already told us everything. We saved her and your grandson when Gato's thugs attacked them. The mist ninjas are no longer a threat now that we've dealt with his employ. What the? He straightened up and turned around. Everyone, including Zabuza, who had just awoken, followed suit and discovered a group of over 200 people. They were not friendly, and except for the midget leader in a business suit, they were all armed. Hey Zabuza, I see you messed up again, Gato sneered at the assassin, and his soldiers laughed. They were all filled with malice, which Naruto could easily detect. The blonde recognized Gato, the shipping and transportation magnate, right away. The Namikaze had seen his ugly face in magazines before, and he now wanted to question the midget leader. What are you doing here, Gato? What does this mean? Zabuza asked, looking at Gato and his army. The paymaster laughed. Well, hiring ninja from villages is rather expensive. Not only do I have to pay them, but it would also be troublesome if they betray me, so I hire missing nins like you. It's very easy to dispose of you when you are exhausted after fighting enemy ninjas, and I can use superior number to get rid of you all. I don't need to pay you afterwards, and wouldn't you say it's smart? Zabuza glared angrily at Gato, who was smiling smugly. This backstabbing son of the bitch has no intention of ever paying me in the first place, he said to the Konoha Jonin. Hey Kakashi, our fight is over. It's obvious that I'm not going to get paid for this, and I no longer have any reason to kill Tazuna or fight you. Tazuna let out a relieved sigh as he realized the dangerous mist assassin was no longer after his life, but he failed to notice Gato and his army were only a few hundred meters away. Despite his severely injured arms, the mist ninja slowly stood up and grabbed his executioner blade. But no one messes with me, and I'm going to show that jerk why I'm known as the Demon of the Mist. Naruto stood in front of him, facing Gato, before he took a step forward. The blonde drew his katana from his back and extended his left arm, signaling the Kiri assassin to step aside. Zabuza, you can't fight them in your condition. Gato is mine. I have some questions for him. Leave him to me, and I will give you something you'll love. And I have a deal I want to make with you, a deal you won't be able to refuse. The Kiri swordsman wanted to protest, but the blonde was correct, he was not in fighting shape. He, as well as Kakashi, were intrigued by the blonde's offer and deal. Alright, those two had better be good, brat. Hey boy. Who do you think you are? A samurai want Toby? You can't fight all of us alone. Run back home and suck your mommy. Gato sneered at Naruto, and his thugs burst out laughing. The Jinchuriki's pupils constricted and his rage flared. Hinata and Kakashi approached, but the blonde held up a hand to reassure them that he was fine. Okay, get them. The magnate ordered his soldiers, who raised their weapons and cheered before charging. Number is meaningless if your soldiers are a ragtag band of thugs, Naruto said coldly. For a few seconds, he held the sword in both hands and charged it with his and Kurama's chakra. With a loud grunt and a high aim to avoid hitting the shipping magnate. Wind release. Vacuum destroyer broadsword. Swung the blonde's sword in a broad horizontal thin line, but the deadly wind blade was released towards the army of thugs. The technique was a much stronger version of the vacuum sword. It took more time and chakra to activate the technique, but the range and width of the attack were greatly expanded, and the user had to be cautious not to cause too much collateral damage. Gato was perplexed when his goons appeared to freeze and abruptly stopped. What are you idiots waiting for? Get them. The shipping magnate continued to yell at his men, but they remained motionless. To his horror, his men's upper bodies, or heads if they were shorter, slowly slid apart and dropped to the ground half a second later. Their blood pressure was a meter high. This is a bloodbath. Gato screamed in high pitch as his soldiers' blood showered on him. The bridge had been red painted. Not only was Gato horrified by this butchery, but everyone on the bridge was as well. Hardened ninjas such as Kakashi and Zabuza were stunned and awestruck to witness a technique that instantly slaughtered 200 men. The body parts and blood of 200 men were all over the place, horrifying Sasuke, Kiba, and Sakura. Oh Kami. The smell of the massacre reached them, and Kiba and Akamaru were the most affected. The genins of Team 7, their client Tizuna, and Hinata had had enough. They all knelt, leaned forward, and puked up their breakfast. Monster. Sakura muttered as she wiped her mouth and looked at the blonde who had caused this. The Namikaze made an emotionless hand sign to create a shadow clone. In disbelief, Sasuke, Kiba, and Akamaru looked at the blonde. He is worse than Itachi. Despite being impressed by the technique displayed by this mysterious blonde, Sasuke compared this to his brother's massacre. Hinata was also having difficulty accepting the scene, but Gato's insult enraged Naruto. She realized it was the only way he could capture the magnate while wiping out his army. It would be less bloody if Naruto eliminated all of them, and according to Tsunami, Gato and his men deserved it. The midget remained stunned as the blood continued to pour down on him, and he didn't notice when Shadow Clone Black crept up behind him and grabbed his collar. "Hya!" exclaimed Gato. "I have some questions for you," Black stated coldly. "Regarding the agreement you made with Kumogakure and what you did to this country." "Mercy!" exclaimed Gato, and Black noticed the tycoon had wet his pants. "I'll give you anything you want. Money, power, women, anything." Just spare me. Mercy. The shadow clone ignored Gato's pleading and flickered away with him to another location for questions. Naruto was about to wash the gore away with his Suiten techniques when he heard clapping. Everyone turned to see two figures dressed in black cloaks with red clouds. The taller of the two, who was wearing a large bandaged item on his back, continued to clap for another 5 seconds. Impressive, he exclaimed. The brat had made another highest body count rate in a few seconds, and according to intelligence, he even had the highest body count rate in a night in Kumo. I don't think you and I can break these records. Too bad the Raikage sent us to arrest him and his people, otherwise we could recruit him to be Sasori's partner. Are you the Raikage? Naruto, Hinata, and Yellow were concerned. Naruto placed his right hand on the hilt of his Arashi, Hinata quickly drew her bow, and Yellow activated his wind claws. The tall mysterious figure removed his straw hat, revealing a beaming Kisame Hoshigaki, the monster of the mist, whom Zabuza, Kakashi, and Naruto instantly recognized. The man was on the Kumo's hunt for Samahata, his sword. He must, however, be approached with extreme caution. After all, he was the tailed beast without a tail. It was unusual for Kakashi and Naruto to come across two members of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist on the same day. Anyway, Itachi, should we take off their legs? Kisame inquired as he removed the bandaged item from his back. I can see the brat and his chick resisting arrest. The other man raised his hand, while Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata were startled by the mention of Itachi, and looked at the shorter one, who also removed his veiled straw hat. The individual in question was one of the most well-known from the bingo books. Uchiha Butcher, who wiped out the entire Konoha military police force and murdered his own father. Uchiha, Itachi. Naruto Arashi, surrender, return to Kumo with us, and return Kumo's properties, Uchiha said monotonously. Despite his wounds and exhaustion from the battle with Haku, an enraged Sasuke charged towards his brother with a kunai. I'm gonna kill you. Die. Itachi grabbed his brother's wrist just as the kunai made contact with his body. He effortlessly grabbed Sasuke's wrist. You're still not strong enough, you don't have enough hatred, foolish little brother, the older Uchiha said coldly. Is he your brother? Kisame joked. He looks a lot like you. Happy reunion, huh? Itachi ignored Kisame's sarcastic remark and drew his brother closer to him. Permit me to remind you why you are unworthy to kill. The chasm between Itachi and me remains. Not Tsukuyomi again. As he watched his brother's Mangekyo Sharingan activate, Sasuke became terrified. Huh? Itachi and Kisame were taken aback when Sasuke was replaced by Yellow. To swap places with the Uchiha Genin, the shadow clone used the substitution technique. Yellow grinned and said, "Kiss your asses goodbye." When Itachi and Kisame noticed a seal on Naruto's shadow clone, they did one thing before being consumed by the black flame of a hellfire seal: they jumped. Naruto quickly grabbed Sasuke before he collapsed exhausted on the floor. What are you thinking, Uchiha? You should have known you weren't in shape to fight him. Hey. Don't say that to Sasuke-kun. Sakura yelled, but she froze when the blonde gave her a cold look. The memory of what the blonde had done to Gato's army was still fresh. The Namikaze instantly summoned a high-level shadow clone. Gray, you help Hinata-chan fight the Uchiha while I look after that sashimi. Who do you call sashimi, bitch? Naruto jumped to fight Kisame while holding the Arashi. Hinata-chan, please contact Hinoka-ni-chan. Gray turned to face Sakura. Pinky, you assist your Sasuke-kun, Tazuna-san, and Inuzuka teammates. Don't argue with me, this isn't debatable. Hinata reached into her pockets for something. "Kakashi-san, here's some soldier pills." She tossed a container to the Konoha Jonin, but Itachi's shuriken intercepted and destroyed it. Gray was approached by the Uchiha. "It appears you are unwilling to return with us, so we will let you recover your strength." "Oh fuck," muttered the shadow clone. "Who are you calling sashimi, bitch?" An enraged Kisame yelled as he raised his sword above his head, bringing down an axe-like strike to crush Naruto and his people below. With the Arashi, the blonde leapt to intercept Kisame's sword. Clang. They arrived at the bridge. Naruto never took his gaze away from Kiri missing Nin. He had to be cautious with Samahata, the most dangerous sword from the mist. "Hey, what's the matter with you?" "Oh, I get it, you don't like being called sashimi." "I am deeply sorry," Naruto said sincerely. "Would you rather I call you blue shark ass face?" Kisame's reaction demonstrated that it hit a nerve. "You little jerk. I'm going to slowly and painfully dismember you." Arashi and Samahata engaged in a pure but fierce kenjutsu battle for 1 minute as the mist swordsman dashed towards the blonde. The monster of the mist had superior strength and could have easily won the fight, but Naruto's reflexes negated his opponent's advantage and the fight ended in a draw. Kisame became frustrated with the lack of results as the blonde ninja kept dodging or blocking his attacks, so he used one of his most powerful and signature techniques, clapping his hands. Sweden. Exploding water colliding wave. The Kiri ninja spewed a massive stream of water from his mouth, causing a massive tidal wave to erupt. When he saw Kisame rising with his water, the ex-Kumo ninja's eyes widened. That was far more powerful than his Sweden Great Torrent. "Here I come!" exclaimed the Hoshigaki, grinning and flashing his shark-like teeth. The Namikaze could only jump, and to his surprise, the waves followed the mist ninja, who used the Jinchuriki's distraction to slash his chest. Fortunately, the damage was absorbed by the Uzumaki armor. Well. He isn't the only one skilled in marine warfare here, Naruto said as he landed on the water, activating his wind release armor. Cruise mode on wind armor. Wind charka was generated beneath the Namikaze's feet to propel him through the water. He was surfing the waves with huge foams trailing behind him and was approaching Kisame at breakneck speed. "How did you do that?" Kisame exclaimed, stunned. "Sashimi doesn't need to know it." The blonde flipped back and splashed the mist ninja with the trailing spray. "Stop calling me that, you little prick." Kisame yelled angrily, his opponent obscured by the waves. When his vision cleared, he saw the blonde approaching him with the Arashi, and he didn't have time to raise Samahata to block the blonde's attack. To avoid the strike, he could only jump backward. The slash ripped off his Akatsuki cloak and top, revealing his topless body. Several arrows were fired at Kisame, but he managed to avoid the first 3. The arrows were fired by the Byakugan girl. Samahata was used by the missing Nin to swat the other arrows away. "You bit my balls. Stop aiming at them." Boom. Hinata's arrows were marked with Havoc or Hellfire seals and were programmed to explode on contact. Samahata screamed in agony. Naruto hurled several kunai emblazoned with Havoc seals at Kisame, but the latter avoided them. Boom. When his Havoc seals missed the Kiri swordsman, Naruto detonated them remotely. Kisame's left arm was broken as a result of the powerful blasts. Before falling into the sea, the mist ninja saw that his partner had destroyed the prick's shadow clone and was now dealing with that Hyuga girl. Naruto was alerted by Gray's destruction and immediately created 2 new shadow clones to continue fighting Kisame before going to support Hinata. Exactly 3 minutes ago, Itachi noticed the Hyuga girl was causing Kisame problems, and when he saw what part she was aiming at with her arrows, he cringed and mentally cupped his family jewels in fear. The explosive seals are at least 3 times as powerful as the one we use. Itachi then launched a barrage of shurikens at Hinata's vital points. Gray yelled, "Wind release, great breakthrough." And a strong gust of wind blew the Uchiha's shurikens away before they reached Hinata. The shadow clone didn't realize it was a distraction until the Uchiha launched a great fireball that obliterated him. When Hinata saw the Uchiha butcher charging at her with a ninjutsu in hand and his Sharingan activated, she quickly put her bow away and pulled out her 2 daggers, the right one held in reverse grip. Itachi came to a halt as he was taken aback by what he saw. Lightning armor, the Raikage's signature. She can use it as well. Hinata's 2 blades were encrusted in lightning chakra and vibrated dangerously. She and Itachi exchanged attacks once they were in range, and both had a light cut on their left cheek. They then engaged in a fierce battle of Bukajutsu and Taijutsu. Cuts appeared on their faces and limbs gradually. The Hyuga princess remembered her Taijutsu and Bukajutsu training and sparring with Naruto in wind armor and lightning armor. Her lover possessed strength, reflexes, and speed, whereas she possessed only flexibility, but she managed to win a few rounds with her Raiden armor. Hinata recalled Naruto's combat philosophy: no matter how strong your opponents are, everyone has 1 or more advantages that you can use to fight your opponent. Itachi was only slightly stronger than her, and they were nearly equal in speed. The Uchiha, on the other hand, had far more battle experience and wasn't dubbed a prodigy for nothing. He struck the Hyuga's left shoulder with his ninjutsu. The wound was not too severe because the Uzumaki armor took the brunt of the attack, leaving Hinata with only moderate muscle and tissue damage. The Uchiha moved on to his next attack, casting a powerful genjutsu on the Hyuga in the hopes of incapacitating her. What? Itachi was surprised once more when his genjutsu on Hinata failed. To break Itachi's sword, the Hyuga reactivated her Raiden armor and the lightning chakra on her daggers, forcing the latter to jump backward to avoid the next attack. The Uchiha was perplexed as to why his genjutsu had failed. He only needed a few seconds to find the answer on the girl's armor, which was adorned with glowing inscriptions. Shield has anti-ninjutsu and anti-genjutsu seals. This type of fuinjutsu was the reason the Uzumaki clan was so feared, ultimately leading to its demise. Lion's twin fangs. Hinata charged at Itachi with her daggers, delivering a powerful cross-slash similar to Yugito's nin taijutsu flying claw. Itachi deflected the strike, but his Akatsuki cloak and ninja garb were ripped and he had an X-shaped wound on his chest. The wound was gushing with blood. When Naruto arrived and took Hinata's place to fight the Uchiha butcher, he made a few hand gestures. Futon. Wind strike. He exclaimed, activating his S-rank assassination and combat technique. His right sleeve and fingerless glove had been ripped apart, and a meter-long blade of light green wind chakra had appeared on his tattooed right forearm and hand. The tattoos served as insulation seals, protecting his arm from the most powerful futon technique. Within 1 meter, a very low screeching sound could be heard. Kakashi's pupils dilated. It appears to be my lightning cutter. The former Kumo Anbu operative was now engaging the former Konoha Anbu captain. They shared so many similarities. They were both from powerful clans, prodigies with bright futures, but they betrayed their villages that raised and trained them, went rogue, killed many of their comrades, and they were both very dangerous. Naruto's wind strike struck Itachi's heart, but the latter dodged and caught his right arm. Itachi's genjutsu failed once more due to Naruto's shield seals, so he thrust a kunai into the blonde's carotid arteries, only to be blocked by the latter's left hand. Both were trapped and struggling to break free as they traded kicks and blocks. Naruto even tried to kick Itachi's balls, but Itachi blocked him. Kuratsuchi, Sayuri and the other Earth Country girls had arrived in Iwa yesterday, according to Son Goku. Naruto was relieved that they were safe at home, and it was now up to his group to find a safe asylum, which they were so close to.
There is no such thing as failure.
I will not give up and will return Hinata safely. With this determination, Naruto head-butted Itachi to break the tie, and to his surprise, Itachi did the same. They stumbled backward, shaking, with blood on their foreheads. Fuck. Naruto slapped his injured brow, surprised that Itachi did the same thing to him, and he could see his opponent was as well. What is causing Itachi's eyes to bleed? The Namikaze was perplexed for 9 seconds before a black flame was directed at him. Is it the legendary Amaterasu? The Amaterasu black flame was absorbed into a shield seal on Naruto's armor despite being shot almost at point-blank range. The Namikaze was shocked once more to see a massive chakra ribcage materialize around the Uchiha. I have to give you credit for pushing me this far. But it ends here, Itachi said pantingly, his chakra beginning to form a fist. The Uchiha genius discovered the shield's weakness by observing the seal effects from Naruto's and Hinata's armors. When their seals were activated, the Hyuga's lightning chakra on her daggers and Naruto's wind strike vanished. This means that when the seal is activated, neither side can use ninjutsu or genjutsu. When he saw the incomplete avatar deliver a fist towards him, Naruto cursed. Naruto's chakra arm shot out to intercept and grab the fist. The punch was so powerful that it pushed the blonde back a meter. Hinata's explosive arrows kept the Uchiha Butcher at bay while also inflicting damage on the red gigantic skeletal humanoid avatar, which was slowly regenerating. 3 figures landed next to Kakashi, signaling the arrival of reinforcements. Hinoka shot her adamantine sealing chains at Itachi's Susanoo, binding it. Her chakra chain was more powerful as a result of the Uzumaki ruby, which enhanced her potential. Boil release. Skilled mist technique. A cloud of corrosive mist was launched at Itachi's Susanoo. Although Asuka Terumi did not have 2 bloodline limits like her elder cousin, her boil release was more powerful than the latter's, and the avatar began to dissolve. Big violent waves kept crashing into the bridge, devouring Gato's soldiers' remains. Tayuya quickly used her flute to order her doki to protect the injured bridge workers from the waves. Everyone was stunned to see a massive wall of water rise up and quickly approach them, carrying an uncountable number of hungry sharks. They couldn't help but wonder if the sharks were drawn in by the blood of the slaughtered thugs. Water release. 1,000 feeding sharks was only known to the Uchiha Butcher. Unbelievable. That blasted Madara was the last thing Susanoo Kurama saw. Get up, kid. You must remove that before it is finished. ACT now, before it's too late. Oh great, Naruto exclaimed. There was only one way to stop this, and he quickly created a shadow clone to protect his friends. Blue, take care of that tsunami and those sharks. After diving into the sea, the shadow clone activated futon armor cruise mode. Several Kisame's sharks turned around and pursued the cage Bunshin. In cruise mode, Blue clapped his hands for 5 seconds before diving deeper into the sea. He released a growing twister and sent it to the bottom of the sea before the sharks caught him. 30 seconds later, the twister grew enormous and created a maelstrom in the sea. The weather began to change, with heavy rain and thunderbolts falling from the sky. Everyone was amazed, but they didn't notice the monster of the mist and his sharks being sucked into the violent vortex and spinning before he was thrown out. Kiba had been stunned by the entire battle until Akamaru bit him and barked at him, at which point he realized something. Sensei. The dog ninja summoned Kakashi and tossed a container to the Jonin. The soldier pills are here. The copy nin quickly swallowed one, replenishing his strength before activating the lightning cutter again. "Bite my arm, Zabuza." Tayuya's words perplexed Zabuza, who was further perplexed when she offered her left arm to him. "For fuck's sake, just do what I said." When the executioner blade wielder's jagged teeth nailed into Tayuya's delicate skin, she gritted her teeth and tried not to scream. What the hell happened? The Kiri assassin felt revitalized, and his arms had been healed. What was this weird healing technique of biting? He would consider it later. Despite the kunoichi healing him, the Demon of the Mist had no obligation to support the blonde in the Konoha ninjas, but his gut told him otherwise. He quickly grabbed his executioner blade and charged into the fray. Naruto entered Kyuubi mode and formed 3 micro-tailed beast balls as Itachi's Susanoo was bound by Hinoka's chakra chains. Burst shot, tailed beast ball. He used the 3 spheres in burst fire mode to attack Itachi's avatar. Boom. When the first round cracked Itachi's Susanoo, he became concerned. Boom. When the second round blasted a large hole on Susanoo, the Uchiha's eyes widened. The third round bypassed the hole and proceeded directly to the Uchiha Butcher. He narrowly avoided the lethal orb that split the Susanoo behind his back. "The battle is lost," Itachi Uchiha said, exhausted from using Susanoo and seeing Kakashi Hatake and Zabuza Momochi join the fight against him. A man-sized crater was left after a figure crashed into the bridge. Tazuna moaned and lamented the damage to his bridge. "Are you hurt, Kisame?" Itachi inquired of his colleague. "My left arm and right leg were broken," he explained. Kisame was lying on his back, frustrated, with fish in his mouth before spitting them out. "I'm going to kill that little jerk one day." "We can't fight any longer," Itachi said as he picked up his injured partner. "It appears that we will have to return to Kumo empty-handed." "Your hatred must be stronger to defeat me, foolish little brother," the Uchiha Butcher said again. The Akatsuki capture team departed in Shushin, and the Uchiha Butcher ignored his brother's furious yell at his name. Naruto was exhausted from being the main fighter against 2S rank ninjas, and he dropped his left knee panting. It was the most dangerous fight of his ninja career. "Not bad, kid, not bad. You and your friend drove away 2S rank ninjas, albeit with some assistance and some of my chakra." Kurama responded with a thumbs up. "You still need to build up your strength before facing Madara." Gato's hideout was discovered 2 hours later. Naruto's adversary was the Cloud Village, particularly the Raikage, and the Kiri rebels would undoubtedly feel the same way if they discovered what Kumo had been doing to their people. The enemy of my enemy is a friend, which is why Naruto didn't kill the Demon of the Mist in the first place. Naruto Namikaze, Kakashi Hatake, and Zabuza Momochi were now meeting in one of the rooms with privacy seals in place. To speed up the construction of the bridge, 300 Naruto's shadow clones were assisting Tazuna. The ex-Kumo ninja didn't want to be seen with 2S rank missing nins, Itachi and Kisame, hired by the Raikage, because who knew what the Raikage would send next. Everyone else, including Hinata and the Team 7 Genins, was either processing Gato's assets or assisting the wave people. Hinata and Haku were tending to the injured bridge workers, while Team 7 and the Mist Hit team would collect their dues from the Tycoon's treasury and distribute the remainder to the locals. Speaking of Gato, Kisame Hoshigaki's shark technique inspired Naruto to use shark food to punish the Tycoon for his heinous crimes. To punish him, Black incised his nerve clusters and delivered electrical shocks directly into his nerves. As there was a kunai up in his ass, the tyrant met the same fate as the Kumo doctors. No punishment was too severe for a scumbag like Gato, who had caused so much misery and death. The midget screamed like a pig and wished he had never been born so he could be skinned and thrown to sharks. "You're lucky you and your companion went south, Zabuza," Naruto said as he finished telling the 2 Jonins about his and Hinata's adventures in Kumo. However, your friend Raiga was not so fortunate. Huh? What exactly do you mean? What became of Raiga? Because you're all on the Kumo's hunt, including Kisame. My former boss would love to get his filthy hands on your executioner blade, and your loyal Hayaten companion will be considered an added bonus. The Hidden Cloud Village has been breeding people with bloodlines and planning wars, including one against Kirigakure. The Civil War provides an excellent opportunity to invade, Naruto stated. In terms of Raiga, imagine your friend has joined his ancestors. Oh, and Raiga had a sick habit of burying people alive, and in the end he ranted and raved about how much he still hated you and wanted to kill you. Sounds like him, all the way to the end. Ha ha ha. Despite their skepticism that the blonde in front of them had personally slain a member of the Seven Swordsmen of the Mist, Zabuza and Kakashi laughed. The executioner blade wielder recalled a story about a simple Konoha genin who fought only with taijutsu but was brave enough to face the entire Seven Mist Swordsmen in the previous war. That guy died at the hands of the Mist Swordsmen, but he did take out 3 of them, and the rest were all severely wounded. Minato Namikaze's offspring killed a member of the Mist elite group and chased away the most powerful one, not to mention Kakashi nearly killed him before being knocked out by the boy. Hell, Konoha people are always pulling crazy stunts. Zabuza pondered. Enough with our story. Now, Zabuza, let's get to the point. Naruto brought up the main topic of discussion, which drew the ex-Kiri ninja's full attention. If I'm correct, you took this hit job despite knowing Gato was a scumbag to fund your rebellion against the Yondaime Mizukage, right? Zabuza nodded solemnly. Yagura has been ordering the genocide of families with bloodlines, and many of your people have escaped that hellhole known as Water Country, only to end up in another known as Kumo thanks to another asshole, the Yondaime Raikage. I've saved as many people as I could from that place, but there are still many people who are trapped and suffering there. Anyway, you gave me Gato, and now it's my turn to deliver. I'll return the Kiba swords to aid your fight against Yagura. And I'm going to give you 300 large bouillons of gold from the Uzumaki clan. Zabuza and Kakashi's eyes widened as they saw the blonde's wealth. This large amount of gold, according to the Kiri swordsman, would undoubtedly raise an army and increase the chances of winning the war. Because I am not a Konoha ninja, this is not international interference from Konoha. Instead, consider it assistance from the Uzumaki clan. The blonde raised a finger. But my condition is that you persuade your village to become a military and commercial ally of the Uzumaki clan, and that you join any war against Kumo. Despite the damage I inflicted on them, the Hidden Cloud Village remains the strongest, and I doubt Leaf or Rock can face it alone. This is why the alliance is critical if we are to preserve everything we value. You and your fellow Mist people will undoubtedly want to exact revenge on Kumo for what they have done to your people. How did you acquire the gold bars? Also, the armors. Did you go to Uzushiogakure? Kakashi inquired. Yes, I visited Mum's home village and took the treasures, Naruto said, turning to face the wielder of Executioner Blade. I don't care if you become the next Mizukage. All you have to do is persuade the new Kiri leadership to form an alliance with the Uzumaki clan, and the gold bars will be yours, deal? Asuka stormed into the room with a scroll without knocking on the door, just as Zabuza was about to agree to the deal. I apologize for interrupting your meeting, Naruto-kun, but you have to see this. Before handing Naruto a scroll, she said urgently. Naruto began reading the scroll she liberated from the shipping tycoon, perplexed as to why Asuka would interrupt the meeting and be so excited. The blonde's pupils dilated. I can't believe it, Kami. I can't believe it. Kakashi and Zabuza both leaned in closer to Naruto to read the scroll. Your cousin Mei just won a big strategic victory 2 days ago, and she's on a roll. The following morning, the Wind of Freedom had been refueled, thanks to Gato's donation, and was ready to set sail again. Water Country was the next stop. All water citizens, including Asuka, were returning to their homeland. A prominent mist swordsman would be an excellent protector, ensuring that they returned home safely without Naruto, who had entrusted freedom to him. The blonde even gave the executioner blade wielder over 1,000 Uzumaki shield seals, which would undoubtedly tip the war in favor of the rebels, and the demon of the hidden mist had been taught how to use them properly. The meeting had resumed, and Zabuza agreed to the deal, saying that once the civil war was over, he would try to persuade Kiri to form an alliance with the Uzumaki clan. Mist would join any potential conflict with Cloud. A copy of Kumo's crimes had been given to Zabuza and Asuka, the water refugees leader. Naruto promised to use Whirlpool resources to provide funds and weapons to the rebels once he returned home, and he even offered to fight Yugura, a fellow Jinchuriki, if the rebels required him. Thank you so much for saving some of my clan's members. I assumed I was the last of my family. Haku bowed 90 degrees to the blonde. And thank you for assisting my master in achieving his goal. Don't bring it up, Haku. We are all eager to put an end to this senseless genocide. Naruto grinned. We're all happy to help in any case. I've never seen Zabuza-sama so happy since I became his tool. Naruto raised an eyebrow and shook his head in sadness. Please, Haku, don't think like that. You are a person, not a tool. But that is my life's purpose. What else is there to live for? Haku inquired sadly, and she was perplexed. My father murdered my mother before I murdered him. I was abandoned and unwanted until Zabuza-sama saved me and gave me a purpose as his tool. What else is there for me to live for? Naruto exhaled a sigh. You have no idea how similar we are, Haku. My former employers saw me and my tailed beast friend Kurama as weapons for war, and I'm pretty sure some people in Konoha do as well, which we both despise. I wouldn't have bothered returning to Konoha if I hadn't wanted to return Hinata-chan to her parents and save those trapped in Kumo. I want to carve my own path and, most likely, rebuild Whirlpool Country with my Uzumaki clan's women. I don't like invading other people's privacy, but Zabuza genuinely cares about you. He expressed concern for you when I told him what Kumo was up to and what they would do to you if they captured you. You can find a better purpose in life by becoming his and Asuka friend Chan's and assisting the Mist's people. I am confident that they will require your assistance once the civil war is over and the country has been rebuilt. The blonde rested his hands on the shoulders of the Ice Maiden and gazed into her eyes. But never think of yourself as a tool. I know he's just acting tough and hard to hide his true emotions because we're so similar. This is simply too humiliating to admit. Ha. He finished his conversation with a laugh and smiled at the giggling Ice Maiden. I get it, and I'll never consider myself a tool. Thank you once more for everything you've done for us. Before shaking Naruto's hand, Haku said. She then proceeded to walk to Hinata in order to exchange medical knowledge. After saying her goodbyes to Hinata, Asuka walked towards Naruto. When they learned that the rebel side had won and that peace for Water Country would come sooner if they helped, every water citizen couldn't wait to return home. However, there was one person who was not pleased. Are you certain you and your people want to return to the war, Asuka-chan? I can use my royal status to secure a safe haven for you and your people in Fire Country. Isn't it your cousin's wish for you to live in safety? I trained you to protect yourself, not to fight wars. Please think about it. Naruto inquired, but Asuka remained steadfast. We really appreciate your offer, Naruto-kun, the auburn-haired girl said, understanding why the blonde was hesitant for their sake. I understand why you want to keep us out of wars, but we are not going to fight. We want to help our people. Everyone in this room wants the war to end as soon as possible. I'm going to use the medical skills I learned from you to save as many people as possible during the war." Naruto sighed and closed his eyes. "That's understandable. But promise me that you'll be safe and happy." "I will, as will you. We appreciate your assistance and will never forget what you did for us. Naruto-kun, you gave us hope. You are a hero to us, and we wish we could find a way to repay you." They were about to split up and would probably never see each other again. She kissed Naruto on his whiskered cheek quickly. Surprised, Naruto returned her hug with care. The boil release girl remembered the Jinchuriki often coming home covered in blood, either his or the enemy's. She, too, knew that he protected her and the other girls from harm while bearing the burden and stress of suspicion for their sake. To her surprise, despite being one of Kumo's most powerful men, he never touched her or the other girls, but instead respected them. She doubted that other people could remain as rational as he had after what he had gone through. Mei, her cousin, had mentioned it several times. Minato Namikaze was a fine man and a worthy ninja during the previous war, and I had always fantasized about meeting and marrying him. Naruto was now better than his father, and he was the most noble man she had ever known. Who wouldn't be smitten by Naruto? Asuka and Sayuri were aware that he had been abducted by Hinata, but they wished them happiness. "Please send me an invitation to your and Hinata wedding." Chans. Naruto returned the nod and smiled. He stood on the bridge as Mei Terumi's cousin boarded the Wind of Freedom. The ship departed 15 minutes later, and everyone on board waved him goodbye and shouted, "Thank you," to him. He returned his attention to his group and the Konoha Team 7. Naruto smiled as he looked at Hinata, Hinoka, and Tayuya. "Well, only 4 of us are returning to Konoha." The following morning, the Uzumaki group, Team 7, and the majority of the wave people were on the now completed bridge, thanks to Naruto's assistance. The villagers were intrigued and wanted to see the person who had single-handedly defeated Gato and his army of scum. "Father, we still need to name the bridge," Tsunami said, smiling at her father. Wave Country had finally found peace and prosperity. "Yes, you are correct. I believe I have found the perfect name for the bridge." Tazuna looked at Naruto, who, despite the brutality with which he dispatched Gato, helped build his bridge, and returned the stolen wealth to the people of Wave. "How about the Naruto Great Bridge?" His fellow citizens mumbled approval. "No, thank you," Naruto interjected, drawing everyone's attention to him. "That will be fantastic, and I am grateful, but I do not deserve to have a fantastic bridge named after me. But may I make a suggestion to someone who is better than me? You should dedicate this bridge to your country's true hero, Kaiza." Hearing his father's name, Inari raised his head and looked at Naruto, who returned his gaze. "Inari." Naruto knelt and placed his hands on Inari's shoulders, looking into his eyes. "Your father was a genuine hero. He stood up to armed thugs and overwhelming odds. He was braver than I was. And guess what? When he saw a kid like me, Gato pissed and crapped his pants." Before continuing, the blonde chuckled. "Can you tell the difference between a brave hero and a cowardly scum? It's all over now, so don't be sad. Instead, live happily and to the fullest to honor Kaiza's memory. My parents died when I was born, but I honor them by living well." Everyone was quiet and listening intently, including Sasuke. The blonde's words echoed what his mother had said. The Uchiha began to wonder if his father and slain clansmen wanted him to live happily ever after rather than avenge them. "Inari, don't cry." Inari's mind replayed Kaiza's final words. Dada. Inari trembled and sobbed as he remembered the traumatized memory of his father dying smiling, despite being horribly beaten and missing 2 arms, and still wishing him the best in his final moments. The young boy kept muttering about living to the fullest. Naruto gently hugged him without saying anything, relieved that Inari had finally understood Kaisa's ultimate sacrifice and Tezuna's efforts to restore hope to this country. "Will you return to see us, Naruto-Nisan?" Inari inquired after he had vented his feelings. "I will." Naruto ruffled the boy's hair, pleased to see his true smile. "I hope to see you when your country recovers." "Thank you, Naruto-san, for giving us hope again." Tezuna and Tsunami pondered. "You must be proud of your son, Minato-sensei and Kushina-san." As he gazed up at the sky, Kakashi reflected. The Uzumaki team and Team 7 left the Great Kaisa Bridge for Konoha after saying their goodbyes to the people of Wave. After 2 days, Sasuke Uchiha was mentally replaying the battle as Team 7 and that Blonde's group jumped from branch to branch back to Konoha. In an hour, the group would arrive in Konoha. The Team 7 Genins had questioned their leader about who these foreigners were and why they were accompanying them to Konoha. Their Jonin leader explained that they would find out why later. The battle between the mysterious blonde and his Hyuga girlfriend and his brother and his shark face partner had left an indelible mark on the Uchiha Genin. Itachi's partner was also strong, but with some help, the couple was able to drive them away. Perhaps the blonde can teach him something. "May I ask you a question, Naruto?" Kakashi inquired. "Sure," Naruto said, nodding. "Why did you request that Zabuza form an alliance with the Uzumaki clan rather than Konoha?" The gold and the Fuinjutsu, on the other hand, belong to the Uzumaki clan, not Konoha. "I understand what you're asking about, Kakashi-Nisan, and I have reasons," Naruto responded. "When we were in Kumo, I read the Konoha Academy textbooks that I had purchased on the black market. And guess what? The Uzumaki family is not mentioned. Leaf would not have won the 3 world wars without the Uzumaki clan's seal arts, not to mention Mito-sama and Mum being Kurama's Jinchuriki. Is this how Konoha honors and compensates for the Uzumaki clan's sacrifice?" "What?" The Hitaki was taken aback by this news. How could the Uzumaki history be removed from the academy curriculum? The Konoha Jonin remained silent as they continued their journey until Naruto broke the silence. "Do you know a boy named Renmara, Kakashi-Nisan?" "So you're the one who sent Renmara to Konoha?" "He said he was with Raiga and that a masked man had brought him to be picked up by a Konoha patrol with a scroll to Lady Tsunade. You gave Lady Tsunade those 100 gold bars, and you should have seen her confused and joyful expression when she saw them." Naruto burst out laughing. "I sent Renmara to Konoha for treatment and protection, and I need someone in Konoha I can trust, and Tsunade is the right person for the job. I hoped that the gold would persuade the Slug Sanin to look after Renmara and pay her debts. Renmara is sweet and gentle, and I hoped he could ease Tsunade's grief." Lady Tsunade was finally able to overcome her hemophobia thanks to Renmara and Shizune. "So, why did you keep your identity hidden when you sent Renmara to Konoha? You could have told us you and Hinata were in Kumo when you were at the border. Why didn't you ask for assistance? I know many people are looking for us, but there are also many people involved in our kidnapping who do not want us to return. Intelligence leakage would occur, and I have no doubt Kumo would conceal and deny its crimes. There are so many lives on the line that I couldn't afford to take any big chances. There was no room for a single miscalculation. Kurama and I are aware that a Jinchuriki has been assigned as my replacement in Leaf, but we decided not to inform Konoha and even asked him not to discuss it." "Okay, I get it. However, you will also need to explain this to the 3rd Hokage and Lady Tsunade. Renmara graduated with my Genin's class and became a shinobi, and he was assigned to Team Shizune, which was formed last year, to replace a WIA member. I see, Naruto thought deeply. Interesting, it appears Renmara wishes to grow strong, and I'd like to see how strong he has grown. Also, I'm sorry to break it to you, but there was an electrical fire 5 years ago in your parents' house. Wait, what? Everyone came to a halt and turned around to face Naruto. I know you'll be upset, but the fire destroyed everything in the house. The copy ninja remembered that the fire was so powerful that even water jutsu couldn't put it out quickly. Everything Minato and Kushina had there was gone by the time the fire died down. Oh my god. Fuck. Naruto was devastated by the news. He walked aimlessly in the forest, holding his head in his hands, and failed to notice a worried Hinata approaching him. How the fuck was there an electrical fire in a place where no one had lived for so long? The blonde began smashing trees furiously. The genins of Team 7 were shocked to see his rampage and the destruction of the massive trees, and his Uzumaki clan's women looked at him with sadness. That motherfucking Raikage predicted I'd learn Hiraishin from the ground up in a year. But there are only 90 days until B-sensei and Yugito-sensei return. We have no time for this. Hiraishin is most likely dead forever. If Kumo refuses to surrender to the alliance of Konoha, Suna, and Iwa, Hiraishin is the best hope for convincing Cloud to surrender without fighting. Fuck. The whiskered blonde punched a tree, causing it to fall. Calm down, Naruto-kun. I understand your rage, but your parents were seal masters, and their scrolls could be protected by barrier seals or hidden elsewhere. Kurama is probably aware of their location. Even if Hiraishin is gone, you can still find a way, can't you? Isn't Hiraishin not the only option? When Hinata's emotions got the best of him, his words had a magical effect. Sorry, Hinata-chan, Naruto said, taking a deep breath and taking her hands, which had the mysterious effect of calming him down. But I'm so disappointed that all of my parents' mementos were lost. You are your parents' legacy, Naruto-kun, she comforted her lover as she gently stroked his face with her hands. You are their most valuable memento. Thank you, Hinata-chan, the blonde sighed, rubbing his temples and taking a deep breath. Kakashi-Nisan, I'm sorry, but I'm not in the mood to talk anymore until we get to Konoha. Naruto was deep in thought as he resumed his journey back to Leaf Village. Now I'm glad I asked Zabuza to ally with the Uzumaki clan ahead of time. If Konoha fails to honor the Uzumaki clan, I intend to rebuild Uzushio with the help of Iwa and Kiri. I might even offer Hiyashi the position of co-founder clan for the Hyuga in Neo Uzushiogakure. 30 minutes later, the gates of Konoha appeared, and they could see the Hokage monument. They've been kidnapped for nearly 10 years. The Uzumaki group paused to put on masks to avoid unwanted attention, unconcerned about Team 7 Genin's confusion. As they passed through the gate, Naruto and Hinata held hands tightly. They were finally back in their birth village, and they were filled with nostalgia. The monument's bust of the Yondaime Hokage appeared to smile and welcome his son and future daughter-in-law home. Naruto's chest felt very hot as they walked towards the Hokage tower. He came to a halt to remove the Uzumaki ruby from his shirt, and it was the same as when he discovered Hinoka and Tayuya. When they got closer to the tower, the reclaimer began to shine brightly once more. It's radiating once more? When Kakashi knocked on the office door and a feminine response told them to come in, Tayuya raised an eyebrow. Is there an Uzumaki around? Yes, Naruto said, nodding and smiling. As they entered the office, the ruby shone the brightest.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.